Dr. Karthikeyan, a highly experienced neurosurgeon with 18 years in the field. He holds an MS in general surgery and an MCH in neurosurgery, the highest qualification in the specialty. He has performed over 1,000 surgeries, saving countless lives. But here's the thing. Even the best neurosurgeon can only do so much when tragedy strikes. Every day, nearly 450 people die in road accidents in India. That's one life lost every 3 minutes. Many of these deaths are preventable. Helmets and seatbelts reduce the risk of fatal injury by up to 70%, yet people ignore them. It's not just numbers, it's real lives, real families. One bad decision, a single moment of negligence can permanently alter the course of your life. And it's not uneducated people, even those who should know better take these risks. Take the recent Gujarat case. A young, well-educated man drove under the influence in the state where alcohol is banned and took a woman's life. One reckless choice and now multiple lives are destroyed. That is not fate, that is negligence. Still think it won't happen to you? Let's give you an example. Watch this.
This guy is very special. ಅವನೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಸ್ಪೆಷಾಲಿಟಿ ಅವನು?
ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಸರ್?
ಅವನು ನನ್ನ ಪೇಷಂಟ್. He is my patient.
Okay.
This guy lives in my area. That's the next problem. Okay, number ಒಳಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ.
Okay.
So ಈ ಪುಣ್ಯಾತ್ಮ he takes the scooter and goes, and as usual, as many other people, early morning, no helmet.
ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ?
ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ. Just 500 meters, 300 meters, 300 meters, whatever. The phone is on the road, your husband is fallen on the road, he's had an accident. Become conscious, 1.5 months in hospital. Then when he woke up, he had no memory, he had no cognition. We did a lot of rehabilitation, everything back, and we put him back in his work as a chartered accountant. This guy, after all this, still is riding without helmet, Karthikeyan.
Part 2, sir. ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೂವಿ part 2 ಬರತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗೆ part 2.
I like that.
This episode is dedicated to World Head Injury Day, a crucial reminder of the devastating impact that head injuries and disabilities have on individuals and their families. Globally, around 1.3 billion people, that is 16% of the world's population, live with a disability. Many of these cases stem from neurological conditions, including brain injuries. Yet, disability awareness remains alarmingly low. That is why our podcast exists, to shine a light on these critical issues. On World Head Injury Day, let's commit to increasing awareness, because disability doesn't just affect individuals, it affects us all.
ജ്ഞാനാനന്ദമയം ദേവം നിർമ്മലസ്ഫടികാകൃതിം ആധാരം സർവവിദ്യാനാം ഹയഗ്രീവം ഉപാസ്മഹേ ആധാരം സർവവിദ്യാനാം ഹയഗ്രീവ ഉപാസ്മഹേ ഹയഗ്രീവ ഉപാസ്മഹേ.
Rebooting the Brain, powered by PRS Neurosciences. Namaste, everybody. I'll start this podcast as usual with our shloka. Om Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hi everybody, welcome to the next edition of our podcast Rebooting the Brain. I am Dr. Sharan Srinivasan, a stereotactic and functional neurosurgeon from Bengaluru, India, and I'm your host for today. And today we are going to talk about a very important topic and with a very dynamic person. The topic is very dear to my heart. And every one of you in this world, 7 billion people can have this anytime in your life. Risk. Doesn't matter what your age is, doesn't matter where you're in the world. Do you know what that is? Head injury, or we call it in medical terms as traumatic brain injury. And to talk about that, I have a dear friend of mine, Dr. Karthikeyan. Before I introduce you to him, some housekeeping rules. We have a Rebooting the Brain channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have Rebooting the Brain documentary. Please make sure you watch it. There are other videos on the episode on different topics we are covering. You will love all of them. Please ensure that you not only watch them, you share them, you comment on that. Any comment that you want, because it will also help us to know how our audience are getting the messages that we want to give you. And of course, don't forget to press the bell icon. So, all of you ready? Wear your seatbelts, wear your helmets, otherwise you're in trouble. So we are ready to go. So Dr. Karthikeyan, neurosurgeon from Bangalore, India, welcome to our show.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
And namaskara from Bangalore.
Namaskara.
And during this whole podcast, some part of Kannada will be there.
Of
I am
course,
very
you can-
proud to be from Bangalore and from Karnataka. So some Kannada words will definitely be there. Definitely, sir.
There's no problem at all. We can talk English. Once again,
Yes. Kannada mixed English irutte. It is not fully
Perfect.
English medium.
Perfect. So, as I introduced the topic, so our video started with one person on a two-wheeler.
Yes, sir.
So you saw who was not wearing a helmet. Now, that kind of scenario is very common. Bengaluru common now, outside Bengaluru
Everywhere.
it's 100% common. I don't know about many other countries, whatever. But this guy is very special. ಅವನು ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ಟಿ ಅವನು
ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸರ್?
ಅವನು ನನ್ನ ಪೇಷಂಟ್. He is my
Okay.
patient.
Okay.
This Punyatma, he's a chartered accountant. That means he's not a stupid fellow. He is from Bengaluru city, which is the Silicon Valley of India, with 5G phone, 6G phone, 7G phone, all of
And
those things.
two-wheeler capital, if I'm not wrong.
Two-wheeler capital. This guy lives in my area. That's
Hmm.
the next problem. Okay, ನಮ್ಮ ರೋಡಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ.
Okay.
One day, his wife lands up from some other uru in a bus stop on the main road.
Okay.
She calls him to come and pick him up. So you Punyatma, he takes the scooter and goes. And as usual, as many other people, early morning, no helmet.
ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ.
ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ just 500 meters, 300 meters, 300 meters, whatever. He doesn't reach the bus stop. The wife is waiting. She's calling. The phone is ringing. Nobody's answering. Finally, somebody picks up the phone and he says, I'm so-and-so. The phone is on the road. Your husband is fallen on the road. He's had an accident. Then whatever happened, they rush him. He looks at it. He seems to be semi-conscious. They rush him to our hospital. He happens to be the relative of our urologist. So, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ. That
Next
connection.
ಬೇರೆ.
So, doctor connection. Not that he doesn't know doctor. He had a clot in the brain, frontal contusion with acute subdural. We operated him. He was semi-conscious. His GCS was only 5-6. We removed the bone, kept it in the abdominal wall. Took his own
The
time,
whole
2-3
full cycle.
weeks. The full masala, 2-3 weeks to become conscious. 1.5 months in hospital. Then when he woke up, he had no memory. He had no cognition. We did a lot of rehabilitation, everything back. And we put him back in his work as a chartered accountant. So far, so good.
So
Huh?
what I would like to say is,
Uh,
ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೀ ಮೂವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ರಿಯಲ್ ಲೈಫ್
Real life agad. What
ಸೊ
happens?
ಮೂವೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ರಿಯಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಯಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಇಂದ ಮೂವಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ?
We don't know. We don't know. This guy, after all this, still is riding without helmet, Karthikeyan.
ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 2 ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೂವಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 2 ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 2.
I like that. Pushpa part
ಪುಷ್ಪ
2.
ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 2.
And Bahubali part 2.
ಬಾಹುಬಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 2. ಸೊ
Oh,
ಆಲ್
shit.
ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 2, ನೀಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 2.
So I tell a different. I'll use this in my dialogues next time. I always tell my patients, see, we have what is that? Buy one take one free
Buy one,
plan
take
in
one
our
free.
hospital. If you come second time admission, we'll give you discount. I mean, imagine this guy.
He is not realized what has happened.
Illa, I have caught him more than once. I've taken this photo more than once. I've sent it to him. I've sent it to his wife. I've sent it to the doctor. Put some sense into his head. Just doesn't work. Why do you think? Yeah, why this intelligent fellow?
No.
Chartered
problem-
accountant.
He's
Bangalore
intelligent.
City.
He is intelligent.
Huh.
Problem is,
Huh.
he was there at the right place at the right time. So
What do you mean?
The,
No,
gold,
by
the golden
area.
hour. Yeah. The golden hour. He had right contacts.
Mm.
He was there. Happened something bad happened to him. In the golden hour, he reached the right place, and he doesn't realize that what has happened to him. Suppose if he reached a place where there was not trauma ready, which was not a trauma-ready hospital, or he had to be referred to a distance. So the more you waste the golden hour, the more secondary brain injury happens. So, and
Absolutely.
he would have never returned to his normal work. So if some part of his normal life was impaired, maybe he would have realized it. Because of...
Why, or you may not realize at all.
Yes, he would have not realized and he would have been bedridden.
What a statement. Actually, what you're saying is absolutely true.
He's not realizing his whatever good deeds he has done has brought him up.
He probably his good karma or whatever his family has done. He survived.
He survived.
How many people go back to work, you say? No, this any
Sir,
number of
daily
people.
in our own practice, my practice, we see trivial head injuries, nothing externally.
Yes.
And they have such devastating, life-changing situations they'll end up in after their recovery.
Absolutely.
Very bad.
Absolutely. See, what you said is very true. We'll come back to those two words you use. One is the golden hour. Second is the trauma-ready hospital.
Trauma-ready hospitals.
So what Dr. Karthikeyan is trying to say is, just because hospitals put up a board 24/7 emergency, it doesn't mean they are ready to take care of all of these things. Each of you global viewers, or at least India viewers, all of you have a smartphone in your hand. You have access to all information. You have useless information in your brain. You don't have useful information in that brain. Why is something that one stupid video, millions of views happen. Good videos sometimes, people nobody sees. I really don't know why. And then when they come to the hospital, the whole drama is happening.
Junk sells more easily.
Junk sells more easily. Whether junk food or junk information.
Junk
or
sells more
whatever.
easily.
Yeah, very
What is
interesting.
bad for you?
Yeah,
Top
absolutely.
list. They'll sell very fast.
Absolutely. And, it's very interesting what you said about trauma-ready hospital. So let us start with the golden hour itself. So what is this golden hour in trauma that you're talking about?
So basically what we all studied and we all know is trauma is something which happens at that point. Whatever injury happens at that point in time.
Correct.
So that is primary injury. So that is not in your hands to change or alter.
Correct.
Only thing is you should avoid the trauma. There is primordial.
Correct.
If you are avoiding the trauma, then it's okay. Once the trauma has happened, that is irreversible.
Correct.
Whatever is damage to the brain or the nerves or anything, that is irreversible.
Correct.
What happens after that, in the next 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, that part is called secondary brain injury. Brain has one of the organs in the body which requires maximum oxygen supply.
Correct.
So what happens is in the secondary part of trauma, suppose a patient meets with an accident, he becomes unconscious, not breathing properly, oxygen supply to the brain falls, or if he has other internal bleeding, his blood pressure falls. So all these things hamper oxygenation to the brain. So all these things build up in the next few hours to minutes to cause what is called a secondary brain injury. So based on the secondary brain injury, which is preventable actually. So that is the only part which we are all struggling and fighting, so that if you minimize the secondary brain injury, your outcomes are much, much better. So reach the hospital as early as possible.
The right hospital.
Right hospital, which is trauma ready, it has a multi-speciality and who can take care of all kinds of trauma.
24/7.
24/7.
So,
and one more thing I want to add,
sure.
sir. Suppose if you are in a distant place, because we are giving it to a general audience, we are talking to them.
Yeah, the people from all over the
all over.
Yeah.
So what happened, what I always suggest is, suppose you meet with an accident, you reach a hospital, they diagnose you with head injury and some intervention needs to be done. So I always suggest my patients who call me is, if any emergency is needed, please do the first aid there or emergency surgery there itself. Please don't rush to the nearest big city so that you will get the best care or the outcome will be better. What you are losing is, you are losing the golden hour and you are increasing the secondary brain injury tenfold. There can be no care provided during transport.
Absolutely.
We don't know who is going to accompany you and you don't know how long you are going to take to reach. So the secondary brain injury will be at its peak if you are shifting from one place to another. Be very careful. Consult a doctor. You should know where you are going. So in my practice, I have seen so many people, they just blindly come to Bangalore and they hop around some 15, 20 hospitals. Bangalore Darshan. They do the Bangalore Darshan for free. And by the time they land up and settle down in one hospital, it's like almost you don't have anything to do. You can't save the patient.
They have written their will to go to the crematorium, probably. Hopeless.
And
no, they don't understand.
They don't understand.
I don't blame anybody. See, the idea at the end of the day is they should educate themselves. Self-education is very important. And every information available online today. It's a democratic thing right now.
And when you retrospectively look at the medical records, he was in a pretty good shape when he left
Exactly.
the place.
Exactly.
And by the time he is done his travel and hopping and everything, Even secondary, tertiary injury
Tertiary,
has
ಹೌದು,
happened
ಅದೇ.
and it's almost not salvageable.
His brain is cooked. Day before yesterday, I got a call from the trustee of our hospital, secretary. He said, "Sir, I have a patient. I've sent you some reports to see." Same story. The accident has happened in Davangere. Somebody, some genius, the well-wisher in the family has said, "Let's go to Bangalore."
Okay.
He was primary brain injury. His Glasgow coma score was about 7-8. He's come all the way to Bangalore and eventually went to a private hospital close by. By the time he reached the private hospital, he's brain dead. And now they're asking, can we do something?
Can we do something?
Now, this well-wisher, no, I tell everybody, especially in emergency situation outside the ICU, when you see these 10 people, who all of them are standing to talk to you, I tell them I have a couple of rules. The first rule is I'm allergic to all relatives, including my own relatives. This is the first thing I tell everybody. Because the fellow who's least interested in the patient talks maximum.
Yes.
That's the first thing I've seen.
And he won't know anything head or tail.
And secondly, all they tell them, "Yun sodabata, hun sodabata, yun inga bartu, anga bartu." They only give negative information. Nobody gives them confidence or moral support. Secondly, many of the family needs money. They don't give money. The only two things the family needs is moral support and money. These two things they don't give. And on that patient's story, they'll sit somewhere and start doing PhD on that fellow's head and brain. So I chase everybody away.
Everybody
and then I say, "Correct alappa, then they pack up." Next day they are nowhere to be seen.
No, this part again will come back to it, sir. Talking to relatives and patients
Yeah, we'll come back
on
to
a
that.
regular
We'll come back
basis.
to that. But I'm
You
just
know
saying,
how taxing it is.
Yeah, the well-wisher. But then this guy, this is what happened. So what you're saying is so important. But you mentioned a very important thing with the golden hour. You spoke about the oxygen and you spoke about the blood pressure. So that comes to a topic that I want to bring to our audience. Everybody knows when we were in school, we taught A, B, C, D, A, E. Here also in emergency medical care, we have something called ABC. Can you tell us about what is the ABC that's so critically now the acute
like how you without
ACLS makes it CAB, whatever, doesn't matter, ACAB, ABC, CAB, whatever.
So basically, sir, ABC, if you don't know ABC, you're not promoted from another class to another.
Correct.
Without ABC, you cannot treat any head injury.
Absolutely.
Airway, breathing and circulation.
Correct. Airway, breathing
and circulation. Without airway, breathing and circulation, there is no way a patient is going to make it.
Can you tell what is airway, what is breathing, what is circulation?
Airway is any obstruction in the airway, is not able to breathe, some mechanical block or anything, whatever may be. So that is all impairing your oxygen supply to the lungs and the brain. So airway should be clean.
So airway starts from the nose or the mouth and all the way
all the way down.
Till the
Next
trachea.
comes breathing.
Bronchi.
Anything in the lungs, he has aspirated his food or whatever he has swallowed, the vomiting has gone, whatever his vomitus has he's aspirated or blood has gone inside.
Into his lungs.
Or there is directly lung damage or anything. So that again impairs his oxygen exchange in the body. So that again impairs his...
So everybody knows saturation after COVID, thanks to COVID.
Thanks to COVID, everybody knows SpO2.
Pulse oximeter.
So please check your saturation.
Correct.
And third one is, okay, your lungs are fine, you're breathing well, your oxygen is going in. But if the blood pressure is not good, that is circulation, the oxygen will not get transported throughout the body.
Correct.
So there's no use in spite of breathing properly and having a good oxygen also. If your BP is low, your blood will not get pumped up to the brain. So that is again a problem. So these main three key things are the golden rules. Airway, breathing and circulation should be optimal. Like everybody knows, BP should be around 120/80. Patient should be breathing. There should be no obstruction to his airway. Saturation should be around 90 plus.
So commonly, viewers, what Dr. Karthikeyan is saying is, airways, you have a smash to the face, your nose may be damaged, your jaw may be broken, these bones may be broken, your teeth may be broken. And because I've seen sometimes a tongue cut into half. The whole face is moving like this. With every breathing, like a steam engine, the face will be moving. We call it Leaford 3 fractures, for example. So because of all of that, the patient is not able to breathe properly. By the time air goes in, all this is obstructing. The blood clots in the mouth. All those things can happen. And then, like you said about the lungs and everything else. But you know what is the problem even in 21st century, even in places like Bangalore, they do XYZ before they do ABC. And by the time half the patients of secondary or 3/4 of the patient or majority of the patient with the secondary brain injury said can be minimized or avoided by
Can be
ABC.
salvaged, sir, to great extent.
Just by ABC.
ABC.
That means putting artificial ventilator, making sure the oxygen is correct, making sure the IV fluids are going properly, and so on and so forth. Guys, remember, if you have to shift any patient, not only trauma, any patient from A to B, location, ABC has to be checked and ensured all through the transfer. That means you have to have the right ambulance, the right people inside the ambulance, the right monitor, looking at the right things, and only then you can ensure that your
Sir,
landings are
one
well
more thing I
successful.
just want to
Yes.
add. Suppose you're shifting from A to B. Please make sure at B you're going to B.2. You fix a place where you're going.
Correct.
You speak prior. Bed is available. You're going to this place. Can you manage the expenses? Because we are not a super rich country, or our insurance penetration is very low. So it's not like everybody has insurance, everybody can get
Well
penetrated.
said. Well said.
So you speak to the doctor or the hospital management where you're going. See, this is the condition. I'm bringing the patient. Please be ready. If anything is required, please call us, or that way. Not just whims and fancies. No, I'm going to this place, point B. I'm just traveling and coming here and trying to find a place.
So why are you're making a very important statement? I don't think very few people. I know for sure, being in this profession, that the commonest messenger for them is the ambulance driver.
Yes.
Wherever he takes and goes, they go.
Indirectly, that's what I was pointing at. See, you don't have to hopping or shopping or believe on a third person. You do all your preliminary data work before shifting the patient from even the bed, in whichever hospital you are. Before shifting him out of the bed, have a definitive plan where you're going. This is a doctor I'm going to meet. This is a hospital which I'm going to stay. And I fixed a bed for him, and then shift.
Well said. I think that's a very important point you have said, the financial aspect. Why is Karthikeyan sir is saying like this is because neurosurgery in the ICU, some of them stay in ICU for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. There are private hospitals. There are different hospitals with different budgets for different situations. There's nothing right or wrong about that. Some of the most expensive hospitals charge more than ₹1,00,000 per day in the ICU.
Per day.
Imagine 3 weeks in the ICU, 21 days into 1 lakh is 21 lakh. After that, you have to stay in the ward 2 months, 3 months. Please understand how many people have that kind of money. But there are also charitable hospitals which charge 10,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees. The service is the same. It's a different way of looking at it. So you have to understand where you have to go. I've seen so many people don't have money, land somewhere else, run into trouble.
No, sir. Again, it's the same thing. Suppose there are charitable hospitals who do it at a better price and this thing. But India is resource limited.
Correct.
You will never get beds.
Beds
Getting
there.
beds
Agreed.
like is gold.
Yes, exactly.
So you fix, suppose if you are not financially well, you fix a hospital, you wait for your bed, then shift. Please don't do further trauma.
Yeah,
like we
perfect.
all in medical profession do no further harm.
Correct.
That is a basic rule.
Correct.
If you're
Absolutely.
not doing good, at least don't do harm.
Don't do harm. I think that's a very important next message Dr. Karthikeyan is giving us. If you can't do good, don't do harm. Don't harm your patient. Being a well-wisher, let's go here, let's go there. Don't be in a hurry. Think calmly. If you're not a neurosurgeon, you're not the subject matter expert, talk to subject matter experts. Then they will be able to tell you how exactly to shift the patient, because the average doctor's knowledge of neuro is so poor.
Very poor, sir.
Forget about, the non-doctors.
Neurophobia among doctors is very high.
Neurophobia? Why do you say neurophobia?
No, there is a lot of allergy among even medical students, sir.
Really? There are people having neurophobia? I agree, but
It
I
is
didn't know there was
very
this phrase
common.
called neurophobia.
There is a phrase, official phrase, and it's very common among doctors.
Or
So
medical
they
students.
Medical students.
Huh.
And they don't like to take neurology cases. They don't like to have central nervous system examination. They find
Lazy
it very
buggers.
complex.
Lazy buggers.
Not lazy buggers. It is like how you don't like maths. It's just a natural thing.
But
Nothing very complex
the
about
nervous
it.
system is such at least keeps people like us in business,
Yeah.
probably. At the end of the day. Very interesting. So
What I feel is the nervous system is almost like mathematics. 1 + 1 is 2.
Which I agree.
Yeah.
No, you actually said very truly, because see, I also thought I was good in mathematics, let me be honest, but I want to be a neurosurgeon. But when I'm doing my functional neurosurgeon, putting the electrode inside the brain, I'm looking at impedance. I'm then giving it the current. Then I'm calculating Ohm's law. I'm calculating voltage. And then I'm looking
You
at
are having that X, Y, and Z axis.
X, Y, Z axis, the Cartesian principle.
Yes.
How much? And it's going on real time.
Yes.
It is crazy. It's quite frightening sometimes if you make
With,
one number
going
wrong.
forward with artificial intelligence, it will become even more.
Yeah, I agree. AI. Now our intelligence is getting into the computer and becoming artificial. So we spoke about. So what is a trauma-ready hospital? Can you tell our viewers what a trauma-ready hospital actually means?
A trauma-ready hospital.
Trauma means accident. So just
So it basically starts not in the hospital. It's just outside the hospital. One, there should be a trauma-ready ambulance.
Correct.
With a well-trained nurse who is able to do first aid at the site. Suppose if somebody calls a hospital for a trauma, who are the nurse or the technician,
The
whoever
paramedic.
whoever is reaching the trauma site, he should be able to know how to handle ABC. He should be able to do emergency intubation, start IV fluid, secure a cannula, whatever the ABC we discussed. He should be able to do it at the site. Then he should know how to protect the spine, wear a collar, put a collar for the patient, do the preliminary assessment.
And shift carefully on the spinal board.
Before shifting, he has to immediately call the hospital, saying that this is the grade of trauma which we are shifting.
Correct.
There is suspected chest injury, abdomen injury, head injury. Please make the concerned departments. He has to alert the concerned departments.
Got it.
So the emergency chief in the hospital will alert the concerned departments. Then the ambulance moves from the site. It reaches the hospital. And management starts right from where the patient is received in the hospital. So the concerned departments, almost everybody should be there available on board, including a neurosurgeon to assess head injury, a general surgeon to assess any abdominal injuries, a CTVS surgeon or a general surgeon who can manage chest injury. So any trauma, anything should be able to be managed. Along with this, there should be an expert radiology, which has a 24/7 high-end CT scanner, who should be able to do a trauma CT. Currently, we always do a trauma CT. We don't want any missed injuries.
So can you explain to our viewers what a trauma CT means?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Trauma CT, basically, it covers your whole body.
Okay.
Almost the whole body.
Whole body scan.
Whole body scan.
Huh.
Not like head and toe. At least it will cover your head, your cervical spine, the whole spine, your chest, abdomen. These are the major cavities in the body which can bleed and you can't pick it up. Suppose patient comes to, you do a head scan and the cervical spine, patient looks okay. You put him in the ward. 2 hours later, the sister calls up saying that BP is crashing, is falling. So you might have any internal abdominal bleeding or anything. So always do a trauma CT so that everything is sure. His patient's vitals are stable. So after that, you can do whichever department is concerned, they'll take up the patient and then they'll move forward. So commonly we get these complaints. I think you would have also faced it. We went to that hospital, allogidde, or ishtu bill madidru, ashtu CT scan madidru, 10,000 CT scan madidare. It is not about the money or anything. It is just for the safety of the patient. Even we don't want to take even that 1% chance saying that to miss one injury.
It's a very important thing you said about ishtu. When they buy a phone, they want it fully loaded. When they want to buy a car, they want it fully loaded with features they may never use because they want to show. But when it comes to health, why are people so stingy when they come to spending on their health?
I don't put it stingy. They're resistant. They just don't want to spend on them.
But why? Their own health, their family's health.
See, basically, common people's thinking is they spend to show their social status. That is a general thinking. Whatever the watch you wear.
They can't put head injury on the Facebook.
They can't put head injury on the They can't put health on as a brand. Our mindset should change, like the Western people. Health should be a way of lifestyle. Health should be a marker of your status. So
well said.
Once health becomes a marker of your status or a social status, only then we'll see change. Till then, we have to keep fighting this.
I just see as an extension of that, there are people who don't make vehicle insurance. Luckily nowadays, the vehicle insurance is become mandatory.
Yeah.
Sir, ಅದು ಒಂದು ವರ್ಷ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅಂತಾರ. I mean,
they don't take health insurance, sir.
Health insurance.
Same. Health insurance ಬೇಡ sir. Every month ಆ ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ ಕಟ್ಟೋದು ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಬೇಡ ನಮಗೆ ಅದು.
Waste. I mean, I tell people, if one message both of us want to give, especially if you can't afford it, you're not well to do, you need medical insurance. Don't think that it's medical insurance for people who can afford it, for people who cannot afford it.
Small addition. Even if you can afford it, you need health insurance. It has become so expensive.
So expensive. I agree. So expensive. I agree. It's crazy how expensive it is. So we spoke about a lot of things, but one thing we didn't speak about, we will speak about now is helmet. Or helmet
the
or
war
the
which you are fighting for so many years.
Decades. Our seniors, our teachers have fought. Everybody else has fought. I mean,
hours and hours of CME seminars, awareness, and still it is
how many police officers, how many ministers, how many people we have spoken. Rules are there, and it just doesn't make a difference.
There is no penetration, sir.
I'll tell you one interesting story. The worst story I'll tell you. This is about 2 years ago. I did a head injury surgery in one of the hospitals I go. Okay. The anesthetist who gave anesthesia to the patient is a postgraduate. Okay. Apart from that, he has done a neuro anesthesia fellowship in Canada. That means he's seen the world also. He was the one who gave anesthesia to my patient. We shifted, the surgery went off well. We shifted the patient on the ventilator to the ICU and everything settled him. And then, I went, and then I was exiting. I just got my car out. I'm driving out. In front of me, a two-wheeler is going without helmet. This anesthetist. Can you imagine? I just followed. Just now we have spoken during the surgery. No, this fellow didn't wear a helmet. What could have happened? And the same anesthetist, 1 hour later, he's riding his two-wheeler without a helmet. I stopped him and said, "Boss, what is going on? Do you want me to come back and are you the next patient?" That means it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, it doesn't matter you've seen the suffering. Why is this going on? Yeah, what is this the problem all about? I mean, we are happy. It keeps us in business. I have no regrets about that. I am honest. You guys can say what you want. Now, ಹೇಳಿ ಸಾಕಾಗಿದೆ. Two-wheeler, when I see in the signal, when I lowered my window and said, ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಹೆಲ್ಮೆಟ್ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೇನ್ರಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು? I mean, they think they are shouting at me.
They are doing something for us.
And who are you to? I said, listen, I give my visiting card out now. And this, what is this? I said, my business is head injury. And I actually say, I have no regrets. Everybody's promoting the business. But leaving the jokes apart, why is this thing about this not wearing helmet?
Sir, problem is people don't understand head injury. See, I'll give you a few examples.
Sure.
2-3 examples.
Sure.
Extremes.
Sure.
Students studying in the hostel.
MBBS.
Okay, we'll put it that way. MBBS student studying in the hostel. Needs lot of studies, hard work. Good student. Night 9:30, 10 o'clock, studying in the hostel, feels hungry, needs to go to the canteen. Just drizzled and stopped. Otherwise, fine. So student takes the bike, goes out. It is within the campus. There is within campus. There is no traffic. Just had a slip and fall.
Because of the mud.
Okay. Because of the mud. After that, she's fine. There's not even a small scratch outside or inside. Then from the moment of the fall, she's not able to see in one eye.
Oh, see?
She can't see. She's completely blacked out on one side. That's it.
My
Whole
goodness.
life has become upside down for her.
What
Scan
happened?
showed there's traumatic optic neuropathy.
My goodness. That
Okay.
optic nerve is cut.
Optic nerve is cut. It's contused. It's damaged.
Sure, Rama.
And she's absolutely, completely functional, walking, talking. She aspired to do super speciality. Everything is in doubt now.
Because of
vision.
And not wearing the helmet.
Even after maximum effort, she's able to receive some 5-10% vision has recovered. But nothing.
And that's the only injury.
That is the only injury. And this
Crazy.
is very, very common. Why I'm telling this is, these are the category of people, this injuries we get at least 2-3 in every 2-3 months.
I agree.
So all, sir, ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, ಸಾಮಾನ್ ತರಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, slip and fall, they'll have some scratch over the forehead here or in the side, and they lose vision on that side. And most of them land up being unemployed. It is life-changing.
I agree. Life altering.
One more. Young fellow.
No, but just to add to this, you said, close by. Then I said, Illappa, did you wear pant and go?
Correct, sir. Very good question.
Why you only here? No, go here, cheddi only, no. Go bare body, no. Alva.
It's not socially acceptable, no. Helmet is okay. Wearing clothes is socially
unacceptable. Maybe we should change that.
One more, sir. Again, young fellow, going, very bright student, preparing for defense exams, NDA.
NDA.
Very bright, very high possibility that he's going to go through it. Wears a helmet, but half helmet, not fully covered. Okay?
The Bandli helmet? Or
Bandli helmet.
Bandli helmet. That's a Bandli helmet.
Bandli helmet.
I call it.
So he goes, again, unfortunate, not his fault. Somebody else comes in the crossroads. He meets with an accident. He falls head on. This thing gets crushed. So his whole frontal sinus, face, nose, everything got crushed. So he's come to the hospital. He was fully, functionally, he was okay.
Conscious talking.
Conscious talking, everything. But he had fluid leaking from his nose. CSF rhinorrhea.
The brain fluid
leaking through the nose.
We'll talk about that a little later.
So he lands up in surgery, uneventful. Thankfully, no meningitis, no infections, nothing. He's fine. But problem is he had to give up his dream. He cannot get back to India because he has implants here.
Oh.
So once you have a major surgery, head injury surgery, and you have implants, as a primary candidate, you are not allowed to enter.
Oh, really? I didn't know this.
He had to change his life. Because what happens is they have to do hard activities. Whatever you have put here, this bone is not as strong as your natural bone. So suppose he goes to the field, he has to
Correct.
fight or do
Mm.
anything. So this is not strong. So it's so bad.
And he must have been depressed.
Yes. And one more, the other extreme.
Mm.
Same. Patient falls, no external injuries, nothing on the scan.
Mm.
Patient didn't wake up. Patient is in darkness. Surgeon is in darkness.
Oh.
Attenders are in darkness. Patient is in deep coma. GCS 4 to 5. Diffuse axonal injury.
Oh.
Nothing on the scan. From the time he met with the accident, nothing externally. Absolutely fine. Not even a small scratch.
Correct.
Just acceleration, deceleration injury. Whole thing is.
And did he wake up
That's
at all?
what I'm telling. He woke up after 3 months.
With lot of deficits.
Lot of deficits, cognitive impairment, behavioral
I
abnormalities.
can imagine.
So that's what I try. You don't have to be really bruised and battered, crushed to have head injury. It can be so trivial that there could be no external, even a small
That is
scratch.
what nobody understands. They think stitches mean serious
Stitches
problem.
mean serious
Fracture
problem,
means
fracture
serious
means
problem.
serious problem, or face
Ah,
getting
yes,
bruised here and
there's
there.
nothing on the head. What are you saying?
What are
anything?
that? In fact, we had a tough time convincing everybody saying that this fellow has head injury. Finally, I landed up doing an MRI to show the small contusions.
Very true. See, I want to counter back with a story. This is a patient who came to me pre-COVID, had a head injury in Anandpur. As usual, they said Dr. Sharan has to treat, and they came all the way. And when he landed in the hospital, luckily, second injury was not significant. He was still talking. I mean, he was this one. He had a big bandage on his head, and here soaked with blood. So I asked the family, what's going on here? They said, sir, everything was open. The 1 or 2 pieces of bone on the road, this, that, all of that gory details they gave me. I said, okay. So I had to check what was happening. So I carefully cut the plaster and I opened the bandage like this. So the bandage that is in my hand. In the bandage here is his brain.
Okay.
Pulped brain. The entire frontal lobe is the brain.
Here.
Bad case. Correct? No, bad case.
Bad case.
But you know the good part of it? He was conscious. He was talking. He was telling me his name. He was telling me his address, lifting. That means that brain is not important. That's another conversation.
Completely different story.
So what Karthikeyan sir and I'm saying is, on one side, you have no external injury, no cut, no bruise, no stitch, no fracture, scan looking normal, deeply unconscious patient, what we call diffuse axonal injury. Other extreme, somebody focal injury, the brain, some part of the brain is my hand, he is talking. So please understand, it is not a simple vanilla flavored 1 + 1 2 situation. You have to reach hospital which is to have trained neurosurgeons. Only then it's going to happen. Going back to that, so Bandli helmet doesn't work.
Bandli helmet doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Full face helmet. Then you said one more thing about this.
Yes, I'll tell you.
Ah.
He's a club cricket player. Finished practice. So some awareness he had. So he always uses a helmet. So he wore his helmet. He was driving. He fell down.
Why I laughed.
I'll tell you the whole thing in the end. He was driving. As usual, all two-wheelers, he had a skid and fall. But still, he had severe injuries. Problem is, he has not clicked his helmet. So the helmet, full face helmet with a click is important.
Cricketer.
Remember, click. We have to
in
click
spite
it.
of being a cricketer.
You have to click it. Like how he clicks his cricket helmet, he has to click the helmet. Otherwise, it just flew off.
When I did the episode with Dr. Vikram Hoded on neurointervention, he said it took the cricketing fraternity 100 years to protect the head. They were protecting other things. To realize head is also important than the other part. That is why I laugh. So you can imagine, all intelligent people, still they don't think this was important until some fellow died.
We'll get back to that hashtag, sir.
Yeah.
One brain, one life. We'll get back to it.
Yes, please, you tell. We can say right now about it because there's the right time, I think.
What do you feel, sir? What is one brain, one life? So then I'll put it across.
See, I mean, being a neurosurgeon, seeing these things, there are these youngsters with hot blood who say, we only live once, go fast, enjoy life, mast madi, ing madi, you do this, you do that, without a care in the world. And they don't protect what needs to be protected, they don't take care, and then they think spare parts are available like in the cars.
So what I would put it as from Bangalore. So it's a IT city. So I'll put it in their terms. I'll put it in their terms only.
Sure.
See, God has been very generous to all of us. He has all given us the same hardware. That is the human body and the brain, the physical structure. It is the same. Whether you are the president's son or your a laborer's son or a daughter, it is the same. You are given with the same hardware. It is the software which we put in makes the difference. Absolutely. And the artificial intelligence which you develop in it makes the difference. So it is all about the software. The hardware is the same.
Correct.
So even the best of the computers in the world, you drop it down, it will break.
Correct.
It will break. Never mind you have a Apple software or the highest Apple intelligence or chat GPT, it will break. And after that, it's of no use.
Correct.
This is also, I try to tell it the same thing. Everybody has the brain, whether you stay in the city, whether you stay in the village, or whether you stay anywhere else. I told you the other joke. Yeah. Whether you have a city brain or a naughty brain or from a
Naughty
village.
brain. I was just going to say
Yeah.
that. Naughty
So,
tale.
Naughty tale. So, whatever it is, if you drop it down, it will shatter. Never mind if you are the topmost intelligent person in the brain. So, there is only one brain for you. And till date, there is no chance of replacing it or getting a new brain or an artificial brain. Not possible.
Only one successful brain transplant has happened in the universe till today.
That,
Which is Lord Ganesha.
that is
Only Shiva can do it.
only they can do it.
Yeah.
And that is also surgeons are not available now.
Those surgeons are not.
Those surgeons are not available now. So you
That's
can't
true.
access them also.
Correct.
So there is only one life and there is only one brain. And second thing is, whoever people have this thought, there is only one life, we have to do it, you should not fall trapped to anything, all those things. From where did all this idea and thought come?
Where is it? From the brain.
From the brain.
Very
Yeah,
true.
it
Very
all
true.
comes from the brain. Suppose if you don't have a brain or which is shattered, you won't have that idea or a concept of saying that there's only one life.
But I'll give you a counter to this. You know why people are not caring about the brain? Because they don't use it. Correct, Allah.
They're
They don't
ignorant,
use
sir. I would put it as ignorant.
Anything you want,
Yeah.
they remove the phone. You know, the devices are becoming smarter. Human beings are becoming dumber.
Dumber.
So
No,
they don't
basically
use it.
it is such low level of ignorance. Sorry to say this.
No, you
Very
have
low
to.
level of ignorance. They don't understand that they are doing all these things, surviving because of the brain.
Correct.
That keeps you awake.
Absolutely.
It wakes you up every day in the morning. It says this is day, this is night. It is so powerful and over-engineered.
Yeah.
You fail to appreciate its beauty.
And give value to it.
Once
It's
you
very
start
sad.
appreciating, then you will definitely protect it.
Double helmet. I tell everybody, if you come and see our patients and what they suffer, you'll wear double helmet.
Double helmet.
It's crazy. It's absolute. I still remember when I was training to be a neurosurgeon, one young fellow like this came to the hospital, head injury, not too bad, talking, and he didn't. I asked, were you wearing a helmet? He said, no. I said, why? He said, there's no rules, sir.
Nobody finds.
Aವಾಗ rule ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Rule ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Forget about fine.
No rules.
At that time, our Devegowda was the chief minister. I said, Nodappa, why should Devegowda be interested in your head if you are not interested
Not
in your head?
interested.
Papa, ನಮ್ಮ chief minister ಅವರು he goes in the back seat of a Contessa Classic. Our
Yeah.
Contessa
Contessa
Classic.
was,
The chance of him having head injury is very less.
very less.
The police will catch if he wants money. Beyond that, he is not interested.
He is also not interested.
But it's amazing, no? When they see police, they put helmet. I mean, I said, for whom are you living your life?
But that's what, sir. Basically, there's no realization of the technology that's been given to you
Yeah.
naturally.
Very sad, no?
Very sad.
Until this, they understand this, nothing is going to change. India, the vehicles are becoming better, the roads are getting better, everything is getting better. Upstairs is not getting better.
It's becoming
Worse.
it's going down and back.
Because of that, we have the highest number of accidents in the world, highest disabilities in the world. It is a mess. And at the even I don't know whether you saw one of the interviews of Nitin Gadkari, our road transport minister. He cried in that interview. They were talking about all his successes. He built so many roads, so many highways. And he says, do you have any regret? He said, I have one regret. I have not been able to educate our Indians to drive safely, to reduce the accidents on the roads.
I would like to add that, sir, drive responsibly.
Correct.
Drive responsibly. See, when you're holding the bike handle or sitting on a bike or holding a steering of a car, always remember it is your safety. You should take care of yourself and you should protect yourself from others. Drive very responsibly. There is a family or a home which you have to go back.
Correct. Or they.
Yes.
Huh.
Going late.
You can kill somebody else.
You can kill somebody else and that can itself change your whole life. You will be running around to pillar to post in a courtroom or something. And second thing is...
There is that, I think that movie of Saif Ali Khan, no?
Yeah.
You know, where he was texting on the car in this one and it hits somebody and kills the family.
There are so many movies which are there.
Yeah.
So after that, the unnecessary stress and all those things will land up. Not necessarily you would have to get injured. There are so many other things which happen. The second part of it, what I tell about drive responsibly is, okay, you're not able to reach the place on time. It's okay to go 5 minutes late rather than risk your life.
Correct.
And
you have some examples for that?
I'll tell you, sir.
Ah.
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Very difficult. I am not able to understand till date. Gen Z is very difficult to understand.
ನೀನೇನ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾ ವೈಯಾ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
I think I'm Gen millennial. Yeah.
You're Gen Y.
Gen Y.
Gen Y.
So you see 9 out of 10 people nowadays, they drive two-wheelers only in one hand. It is a dictum in our city at least. Whether you wear a helmet or not, that is different. And the helmet will be always loose so that they can slide the phone inside.
Okay, slide the
So
phone.
that is two new
Strategy,
innovation
that's a strategy,
strategies they have.
And they think they're very smart.
They're very smart and they think that one hand is enough for driving. So you can stop manufacturing the other hand, cut off. So at least cost cutting will happen. You can drive only with one hand, no need for the other.
Correct.
So it's little do they understand. Is there any, suppose you, for any big situations, there is what they do is risk benefit analysis. 99% of the time, the nonsense discussion they'll do. Pardon me for the word. The discussion which they have on the phone or conversation which they are having on the phone.
It's not life.
It is not
life
some
changing.
life-threatening or life-changing. Given if such a life-threatening thing is happening, okay, you do that. But what
pull
is
to a side,
pull
no?
to a side? Okay, suppose they have to reach or hurry to a place. How many people? You just think for yourself. I ask everybody, all my patients. You just think for yourself. Was the discussion really necessary to take that risk, driving in one hand and talking there? And believe me, sir, 99.9% tell no. Then why do it?
Because they're not serious.
They're not serious. They don't
serious.
appreciate
They don't care
the technology they have.
about,
That's all.
bottom line, end of the day.
That's why I gave that.
Correct. No, absolutely well. See, our job, Karthikeyan, as neurosurgeons is to drive the damn point home that, guys, is one life, one brain. Please protect it with a seatbelt or a helmet.
And it is gifted to you, free of cost.
Free of cost. Absolutely.
The best engineered structure in the whole
world
which we are living.
People are still struggling to understand what is going on. Very well said. Very well said. So we'll change tracks. You mentioned something called GCS. Both of us mentioned Glasgow Coma Score and all of those things. So can you educate in layman's terms, what is this coma? What is the score? Why do we need it? How do we use it?
So I won't make it very technical.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how I explain people when I do my counseling.
Sure.
So what I tell them is a Glasgow coma scale is basically, coma is there. It is basically to grade coma. Mild, moderate,
unconscious. Yeah.
So basically you have to drive people home. They don't understand. So what I tell them is, see, whether your patient is like you and me, whether is he talking like you and me, they tell no. Then you take it as he is in coma. Only when he is not like absolutely like you and me, talking, interacting, everything, then you tell he is conscious. Or all others come under the category of being unconscious or comatose. So that's a very easy way of communicating.
Perfect.
So anybody who is not talking to you like you and me, like how we are having a discussion, so we consider them as comatose or unconscious. So this is a big category. So that category can be divided into mild, moderate, severe. So for that they have a scoring. So to standardize all these things, they have taken 3 parameters to see whether he is looking at you or whether he is not looking at you, or whether he is looking at you when you do something to him. This is E, or eye-opening response. If he is looking at you spontaneously, we call it E4. Or if you opens his eyes to call, or opens his eyes to pain, or last thing is, do the hell with it, he's not opening the eyes. So that is I. So the other thing, you talk to him, he's talking to you normally, or he is confused, disoriented, he's blabbering, or he is delirious, he's not speaking irrelevantly. Or third thing is, he's like how a fully boozed or drunk person is, he's just making sounds, whatever you talk to him. And fourth thing, again, he's gone back to rock bottom, he's not at all talking. The other part is that is V. And M is the motor response. Like how fully conscious oriented, going for a 9 o'clock job, fully obeying commands. So I call it that way. Going to the office at 9 o'clock is M6. M5 is like end of the day, just kicking your hands around like this.
Oh, that's a dangerous statement you're making.
So end of the day, you're also tired, just moving your hands like this. You put it as M5. The other two are, you're on a Sunday morning, really not wanting to get up, M3 and M4. M2 is absolutely fully knocked out after a Saturday night party or full tight. I call it that way because it's easy for them to understand. See, suppose if patient has a very severe party and he's fully tight, no? See, your patient is fully tight like this. So that means he's very bad. So this is what generally Glasgow Coma Scale is. And based on these scores...
One second. He said EVM. So it's not electronic voting machine, but we understand about it. EVM. So, but it's a good acronym for you to remember. Eyes, verbal response and motor response.
So this was made so simple so that the paramedics and the first responder, what we call whoever is receiving the patient, will give the hospital a general idea about what is the condition of the patient. It may look very...
also standardizing the conversation so everybody understands the same thing.
So I put the Glasgow Coma Scale in a very jovial way. Actually, it carries a lot of meaning. Once you tell the E, V and M scores to somebody who is knowledgeable, they'll be able to assess what is the grade of his injury,
correct,
where he has to go, what is the
very
treatment.
Important for us.
So
very important.
Why I
not
put it
across,
across...
like the primary injury GCS and the subsequent secondary injury or the worsening on the way is very valuable for us.
So what happens is once this score is given to us, so why I put it jovially is so you can remember.
Correct.
So it's easy for... I can put it in a more technical way how it is printed in our textbooks.
Correct.
So it won't make sense.
Absolutely.
So that's why I used word being tight, going to morning 6 o'clock work, 5 o'clock. So it's all easy for people to understand and remember.
He's just relating it to that, but obviously there's a lot of medical interpretation.
If you just
to the
Google
brain
it,
function.
you will have the whole technical thing, which will be very difficult to understand.
GCS.
Glasgow Coma Scale.
Score, because it came from a training institute in Glasgow, which is in Scotland. So GCS is a good thing that you said. So what are the best is 15?
Best is 15. The lowest can be 3.
3. So that's how it is. So that's what it is. So you, as you were explaining this, you spoke about this Saturday night, the tight and the booze and all of those things. So there's a lot of discussions going on this work-life balance.
Yes.
And
very interesting topics.
Work-life balance. And I want to weekend for myself. Friday evening switch off. People switch off their phone and all of those things. Weekend is moj, maja, whatever it is. So this is, I don't know who is doing, who wants all these things and doing all these things. But imagine if you and me as neurosurgeons also start saying, I want 40-hour weeks, work-life balance.
We'll correlate, sir. The current thing, work 90 hours a week and how long will you look at your
70 hours
wife's face? You can do better work. You have been a neurosurgery resident. I have been a neurosurgery resident.
Correct.
How many hours have you worked, sir?
I think during my training, I was doing 140-hour weeks, if I'm not mistaken, to 150-hour weeks. It was unbelievable. It was ruthless.
So nobody, because we are minority,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. So nobody cares. In fact, you take any residency in a decently busy hospital in India currently, there is nothing called as work-life balance.
Correct.
You join the residency and you end it at 3 years. That is if you're good. Otherwise, it will extend. And nobody asks you whether you have slept, whether you have had food or nothing.
Nobody cares.
All they care is patient care is most important. That is always the top priority for 3 years.
Yes.
And you're trained that way.
Correct.
So naturally, that work-life balance never sinks into anybody who's trained in India. So even
in the doctor field, I think more importantly.
And what happens is, since it is being so deeply ingrained, after passing out and you start practicing also, you're still working like that.
Correct.
And still there is no work-life balance. You still keep working.
So here are these guys who want this so-called work-life balance. Yes. They demand it as if it's their birthright. They go on the weekend and intelligent people don't even have a control on their alcohol consumption. They drink, and the stupid fellows, once they drink, you should not drive. They think, I know when I'm tight. I know when I can manage. I've seen all this. I've seen doctors doing these things. And then I'm an anti-alcohol guy, guys. So I'm telling you honest, whether you hate me, you like me. I tell all the guys who have alcohol and come with head injury, say, Nodappa, after having drunk so much, Vijay Mallya is still in trouble. Kadalva. They couldn't bail Vijay Mallya out. So don't invest on Vijay Mallya, invest on yourself.
Invest on yourself.
Vijay Mallya doesn't care. He is sitting like a Raja somewhere else and on your money. And these fellows drink. They screw up their life. And then we have to leave our work-life balance to come and operate a nut who could have avoided this in the first place. So can we tell them, Karthikeyan, I am in work-life balance. You wait till Monday morning. Let secondary happen.
It doesn't happen in India. So it happens outside.
Happens outside?
It happens outside.
Really?
Surgeon is not available. You go to another hospital. India, nobody tells it. Others, Western countries, it happens. Correct. They just take off.
They take off. Oh, they are also work-life
They are
balance.
work-life balance.
Oh, doctors also. Maybe we should also start
We should
doing
start.
the same thing.
We should tell.
See, it has to be
Neurosurgeon is not available on
Huh,
weekends.
huh.
So then they'll stop drinking. I think.
drinking.
Yeah.
Then the
Because
alcohol
there is-
lobby will come up.
Yes.
All the bars that
So if you do
and
that,
the,
if you start taking offs on weekends,
Huh.
so they'll
Hey,
know. Say
that's
if
a good
something
point, yeah.
happens,
Huh.
nobody will work.
Huh.
So better we'll do it
I
on
think
weekdays.
maybe this is one of the ways to stop these drinking
Yeah.
driving accidents.
I think so.
I think great idea. I hope this message reaches the who's who, in the government or the police or wherever it is. Guys, we are in a democratic country. You want freedom, we want freedom. You want work-life balance, I want work-life balance. Dr. Karthikeyan wants work-life balance. So we can, no neurosurgeon available.
Sir, we can, after saying all this, we can confidently say we are high-performing individuals in the society.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all high-performing IT, everybody needs a break. So we also need a break. So we'll also take off.
No, these people put off their phones. And they expect our phones to be on all the time.
Yes.
And they send, without in checking, they keep on sending some useless messages, some urine report, something else. Can you imagine?
And they expect
That-
you to report,
Huh,
reply
huh,
also.
amazing.
If
Yeah.
you don't reply, they'll start
And not
writing.
even there. Somebody's patient is lying
Mm.
somewhere, something else. Whether what we say is going to make any difference. No. It's their bond, right? But if you call them for anything, no, I am not on call.
Not available.
You don't, not
Yes.
available. Amazing, guys. Let's change attitude, guys. Let us be fair to everybody. Either you all play by the same rules, or don't set different standards for yourself and different standards for what you give others and what you expect others to give you. Correct, Allah?
Correct.
It has to be the same thing.
And one more thing which I think, sir. Okay. Again, it all comes down to responsibility.
Hmm.
So as surgeons and neurosurgeons taking care, I think we do injustice to ourselves. We overwork, we burn out. And I'm coming to that point of emotional drainage. So suppose you are a neurosurgeon. So you would have faced this. How much drained out do you get talking to these head injury patients? It's not about acute drainage. It is chronic. Suppose you land up treating a head injury patient and rehabilitating him. Day in and day out for months together.
They don't wake up. They're
They
unconscious,
don't wake up.
coma. Huh?
And we have to face the relatives and you go every day and tell, see, he's sick. He's not doing well. Maybe he won't make it. People feel that doctor is not giving us any positive things. They don't understand what we go through. How much emotionally it drains us.
Absolutely.
How much we get drained out.
And to take the negative energy and to give them
Yes.
positive energy, and then we process the negative energy.
And we have to process the negative energy for not one patient, for
30, 40 patients.
30, 40 patients
I know.
throughout the day, throughout the month and throughout the year.
Absolutely.
And all these things starts with responsibility. Most of the head injuries which we treat, if that person would have been at least 50% responsible, the situation would not have happened.
Correct.
For the patient and to us also.
Absolutely. And the tragedy of this whole process, that stupid fellow who did all this mess, he's lying there.
Yes.
Rest of us are fixed.
Yes.
That wife is fixed, family is fixed,
Family is
parents
burnt,
are
you are
fixed,
burnt.
everybody is burnt. Neighbor, everybody has to leave everything to one fellow who chose to drink and drive, want to live life fully, freedom. What's this nonsense here? Guys, wake up, guys. Please understand. You have one life. Yeah. See, I tell everybody one more thing. That fellow who, if he recovers, no, I said, no, pa. If you die, then they will cry for 10 days. They'll put a photograph, they'll put a garland.
That's it.
After 10 days, life will gone.
Go on.
But if you survive without eye, without hand, without leg, without speech, where are you going to function? Because with today 100% brain working, it's difficult to survive in this world.
Even 1% less. You can't
Imagine if your one app in your phone is not working, you're getting restless. One that bar less in your signal, you're
getting
not
restless.
working. Upload is not working, you get restless. Imagine your brain is like that. But why are they not getting it? I just don't get it.
It's
very sad.
very sad, sir.
Very, very sad.
Maybe we should announce a Nobel Prize. If the person who identifies why people are ignoring or not being responsible about their brain or anything, should definitely give a Nobel Prize.
But I don't know. We have to really find out what is going on. So you spoke really about the emotional things that we go through. And you also spoke about the burnout that we have. See, we are loving what we do. Please understand. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon from 8th standard. It's my 25th year of practice. I'm loving what I do. I have signed on for another 25 years. I'm very clear because that's my passion. I'm living my dream. I'm living my passion. All we are trying to make you guys understand is please get the message that even if you come to the best of doctors like us, to the best of hospitals, repair gadi is repair gadi. At the end of the day, you have to understand prevention is
Dent and paint can always be seen.
correct. Prevention is the best safest and cheapest cure. So at least take precaution. Somebody else comes and hits you is different. But that also happens, Karthikeyan. This fellow escapes, he kills somebody
kills
else
the
on
other
the
one.
road. And that is a bigger crime.
So the other part is which we'll just touch a small thing. Okay, Bangalore has become a bigger economy. People are getting richer. So cars, that is also become a big mess now.
Correct.
You would have seen so many whiplash.
Yeah.
Just think, everything facility is provided. Again, same thing. Your car is also over-engineered. All facilities are provided, but still you don't use. That's why I told we should give a Nobel Prize, definitely, to find out why people are being so ignorant. Elderly gentlemen.
I've seen people putting the seatbelt from the back. Yeah. Amazing. Because the
So-
alarm comes.
So they just lock the seatbelt and sit on it. So everything.
And when he sees police, he brings it like this.
So they are so intelligent, they can do all those things.
For useless intelligence.
But they can't take simple things, they can't take care of it. So simple
Stupid
things, sir,
fellows.
I'll tell you. 80-year-old gentleman,
80.
80, traveling, doing everything, driving on the lane, something. So the
He's driving.
No. The driver is driving, he's just sitting. So he feels driver is driving slowly. He felt that all these things I came to know retrospectively after he came to me. So no sir, driver was driving very slowly. Tumba ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ ಸರ್, ಸ್ಮೂತ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಓಕೆ, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ ಕಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, 2-wheeler ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಎಕ್ಸಲೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ದೆನ್ somebody came from the crossroad again, auto fellow came. This fellow had to brake. Our man had a whiplash. He went and hit the dashboard. And after that, he's not moving his all four limbs. Now he's coming to me, same thing. He's talking, he's fully fine, but he's not moving all
From
four
here
limbs.
down-
From down, fully gone. From the neck down, fully gone. So
Spinal cord injury.
Spinal cord injury. So if he had just clicked his seat belt, so again, you have to click, you have to be responsible. That's it.
Since we came with the topic of seatbelt, I want to tell my own story here. So this was when the old Fiat car was there, Premier Padmini, and then the seatbelts. I don't think Indians even cared about any seatbelts.
It was just hanging in the car.
Yeah, whatever, somewhere. I don't think it was even pre-seatbelt era problem. He was 1 year or 2 years senior to us in Bangalore Medical College. He went on to become a surgeon, and I was training to be a neurosurgeon at that time. And he's got married, and 3 days after marriage, they, as usual, they all go to the temple. Family decided to drive to Tirupati.
Okay.
And on the way back from Tirupati after darshan, he's coming in, he's driving, and he had a head-on accident. No seat belt. So the classical dashboard injuries happen. You understand? So the classical dashboard injury, guys, if the car is going slowly, you don't wear the seat belt, the knee goes and hits the dashboard, you get a kneecap fracture. That's the first. If it hits higher, it transmits, then you get a hip fracture. And that's what happened. And if it gets a little more, you get dislocation. So he had a fractured dislocation of the hip joint. That's all that happened. So he came to our hospital, and hip joint, you put a traction and keep it. So that traction is 6 weeks. After 2-3 weeks, his father is the medical superintendent of another mission hospital. He said, too expensive here. Anyway, he's just lying down in bed. I'll take him to my hospital.
Take him there.
2 days after he went there, we suddenly got a call. He became breathless in the morning and died. Pulmonary embolism. He died. So imagine, guys, just because of no seat belt. If he had worn the seat belt, or if that time seat belt was available, he would have survived and have been fine. Doctor. So all I'm trying to make you guys understand is that chairman of Tata's.
Yes. Same.
Back seat.
Same back seat.
Back seat, no seat
No
belt.
seat belt.
And I have a patient even now, the boy is woken up, but he's still right side, spastic on wheelchair. He was driving, I don't know whether you remember this accident, just before COVID, March of 2020, 5 boys driving fast on the new airport road near the Decathlon, that area on the new airport road, went into a divider, 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and the car span. This fellow sitting in the middle in the back seat. He was not wearing seat belt. From the back window. And you see the video playing, the video is playing. This is the CCTV video. And everybody rushed. And they found him in a charandi, in a drain, 25 feet away. He's flown out of the car from the back seat.
And he's gone 25 feet.
25 feet into a ditch. Seat belt. So, in spite of the car alarm coming, you sit in your Uber to go to airport. Please fasten your seat belts at the back. Own driver. So, ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ sir.
ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ಹಾಕೋತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. You put a better voice.
Maybe she has to come and dance in front of
dance,
me.
please
ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರೇ ಒಂದು
ಅವ್ರು ಹಾಕೋಬೇಕು. So I make sure, I said, I protect, life is too valuable for us.
Too
to
valuable,
let it-
sir,
Too
yes.
valuable. Too valuable. Talk to us about your World Cup EDH.
World Cup
And the lucid interval. You have to tell us that.
Yeah.
So you have a very, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ನಾಮಕರಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. You give the names to this. So tell me about this World
Sir,
Cup
this
EDH.
World Cup EDH. But
First of all, EDH ಅಂತ
EDH.
ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆ ಕಡೆ okay, we lost the World Cup, but patient did well.
So at
So
least
you're
some-
happy.
Some
Yeah. So what happened was it's Sunday. I like all.
this
I'm
recent World Cup.
recent World Cup. I'm also a cricket fan. Wanted to watch World Cup. Okay. Went, finished all my rounds very early. Set
Settled.
up everything at home. Watch today with match ನೋಡೋಣ ಅಂತ. So I got one call saying that this kid has previous night, he has been shown to some other hospital. So he was driving a bicycle and he has fallen down. So he has gone to the nearby hospital.
bicycle ಇದು.
Bicycle.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಮೆಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಮೆಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು. So he has fallen down. The doctor has examined him, everything, and told he's absolutely fine. In case if anything happens, he's vomiting or becoming very drowsy or anything, you come back to us. So he's gone home, he has slept. Then maybe around 6-7 o'clock in the morning, he's become very drowsy, not responding, very dull. Like our 5 o'clock job. It's become like that. So people got anxious. So he was known to some surgeon in our hospital. So they landed up here. So we did a scan. It was a big, massive EDH and he's herniating in the casualty itself. He came to the casualty, he was okay. He was very drowsy, his pupils were equal. By the time he finished his CT, one pupil was blown. He was just coning in front of us. So, World Cup. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬಾಲ್ ಬೌಲಿಂಗ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇನ್ಸಿಷನ್ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ಗೆ. So ultimately we evacuated the EDH. Patient did well and he came out. So basically what I try to tell is this is called as lucid interval. It is very common in EDH, very common in pediatric populations. So initial trauma.
Lucid interval.
Not Lucia movie. Lucid interval. Yeah. So basically if you miss the lucid interval, you will become like Lucia movie only. Correct. You will also become confused.
Correct.
So what happens is that EDH slowly develops. Once it reaches
what is an EDH? Can you show?
Yeah, I'll just show, sir. So this is a skull.
I hope it's not a real skull.
No, it's not a real skull. No.
3D printed.
3D printed.
3D printed.
So this is a skull. So you can see that's why we advise you to wear a full helmet or something. Okay. This whole thing needs protection. So if you wear a half helmet or a Bandli helmet, you cover only till here. See this part. I'll remove it. Only this part. Only this is the part which you are covering.
Correct.
Okay. If you see like this, it's hardly 50%.
Correct.
The remaining 50% is not covered.
Correct.
So that's why we ask you to wear a full face helmet. So suppose you don't wear a full face helmet, you get injured. So eye can get injured, your nose gets injured, your mandible can get injured. If this gets crushed, your ABC is gone for a toss. If this is gone, that is too valuable, permanently gone. You won't get it back. Or if this gets crushed, brain fluid starts leaking. So this whole thing needs coverage. This whole thing is your head. It is not just...
That's what people don't realize that.
Yes, people only realize that this is the head. And
worst case.
And this needs least protection among all this.
Correct.
So suppose this is a skull. So we'll get back to that point.
EDH.
EDH. So what happens? This is a skull.
Correct.
So there'll be one covering around. This is a model of the brain. And there'll be one covering around it. So all in between any layer, there are spaces.
Correct.
So there's
layers.
Layers.
Inside the skull, there is covering on the brain called the dura mater.
First, which can get injured is your skull. So if skull gets injured, you can get what is called as a depressed fracture.
Correct.
So this bone can get fractured. It can go inside, it can come out, or it can fall off.
Correct.
So we'll go to the next layer, which is not there in this model. There'll be one covering on this called as dura mater.
Correct.
So if between the skull and the dura mater, if anything gets collected, so
outside.
Extradural, outside. So extradural hematoma.
That is the EDH.
That is the EDH which I am talking about. Second thing, next compartment is below the dura. So suppose you open the dura, it can get covered here. Below the dura, subdural. So outside subdural hematoma outside the brain.
Correct.
And below that is your brain. If that gets damaged, you can get a contusion or intracerebral hematoma. These are basic head injuries. The other one which we spoke previously, the diffuse axonal injury.
Correct.
So what happens is this we can show in this. So suppose if this is the brain, this is the space. So you are moving like this. When you move, the brain is still in motion. You have come to the rest. So what happens? This goes and hits like this, hits against the fixed structures. The front of the skull, it goes and hits like this. So it causes this what you call as acceleration and deceleration injuries.
Correct.
So the whole brain, nerves, tissues, everything gets damaged.
And the brain is still shaking
It's
inside.
still
because
shaking
floating
inside.
in a fluid there, it
Yes.
shakes inside. Sometimes even turns, you got torsion injuries, then the center of the brain gets up. Very well explained. I think you have explained excellently about what is called an
This
EDH.
thing needs protection.
Yeah, absolute. Full 100%.
Full 100% protection with a click.
With a click. And made in Shivaji Nagar, made in Ketmaranhalli or...
Made anywhere, at least for current situation, anywhere, full face helmet with a click.
But what about this, not duplicate ISI, but at least something with some mark?
Sir, I've reached that stage. I have literally become that stage.
You know?
Initially, I was also ISI. And
Yeah.
I told, okay, at least you wear this. Please, some protection it will give you. Even if it is crushes also, at least we'll have some satisfaction. You are
At
wearing
least
a
helmet,
helmet.
helmet. Other what is duplicate, what is real, what is quality,
God
what
only
is
knows.
God, there. And our, I think, population is very fatalistic. Ella there would put this.
And currently, you have these racing bikes.
Ah.
That is one big mess.
Ah.
Doing wheelie, driving. They have manufactured the bike to drive it on 2 wheels. But you want to drive it on one wheel. So, I don't know. They should only understand again.
I don't know who is going to understand what is going to happen.
Okay, you take out that wheel which you don't want. No, you drive it like that only.
Absolutely.
Very difficult, sir.
And this side of the skull here is the thinnest portion
The
where a
tirium.
major blood vessel goes. Because of you see people shoot themselves here because that's when the highest chance of it getting in. That's where the EDH is commonly, formed because of the fracture. The lucid interval is that classically we see in boxers. They fall down, they are unconscious for a few seconds or 1 or 2 minutes, then they get up, they look okay. So that's when they're lucid in between. And I'll give you the classical example. I have one story here I will never forget. I've even mentioned that in my book, Rebooting the Brain. This was, the Command Hospital Air Force, which is in Bangalore. At that time when I was training, they didn't have a neurosurgeon. So our hospital was the backup neurosurgery department. The radiologist of that hospital, his own son, 21 years old at the time, goes out on a two-wheeler without a helmet. He has an accident. And he's lost consciousness sometime, comes back home himself, driving the two-wheeler himself, tells his dad, I had a head injury. Now, because he was complaining of some headache, he decides to have a scan, radiologist scan. Command Hospital didn't have a CT also at that time. Just the CT had just started coming in at that time. So now he had to get a CT done, radiologist. Now, when you come out of Command Hospital, there's only one road. You either go left or you go right. Left is our hospital. Right is city, Bangalore city, and he decided to go right instead of left because he had a friend who ran a diagnostic center. CT is CT. Not CT in this situation, but that's what he thought. Radiologist. He went there, got a scan done, he had a large EDH. They called me from there, I was on call, saying that EDH is there, we are bringing the patient. By the time he reached our hospital, he was brain dead.
It can be so bad.
From Chamrajpet to Airport Road. Brain dead.
Young fellow.
So I always say, the decision of turning right or turning left was death or life. It is as important as that. But people don't get it. Radiologist. The scan cost would have been the same.
So the old saying, no head injury is trivial to ignore.
No head injury. Nobody understands. Now when we tell them observation, they just don't. Heart attack means 5 days observation. 10 days observation. Heart is important. Brain.
Sigate sir, ಬೇರೆ ಹೊಸ
ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. And you go to
something you'll get.
Bird brain, pig brain, anything you put at the end.
Problem is when they reach the stage of brain replacement, they are not aware. They are just lying down somewhere.
Correct.
So they are not aware.
Very sad. Anyway, so very nicely you spoke. So now, the second injury, before you go on to the fall and things like that, let us talk about the surgeries we do a little bit on, the surgeries that you do. Can you tell our viewers what are the different kinds of surgeries that they need? You just said right now you evacuated, they removed them. I'm not talking about steps of surgery. I'm just trying to make them understand.
Give a gist of what we do. Basic concept of what we are going to do.
Can you please educate them on that?
So just now I showed you, So like what happens? Suppose we'll go through the same layers.
Yes.
Suppose you're having the first part. Suppose if this part is damaged, the skull is damaged, the bone is gone inside. So two things. One, the skin is open. Your skull is fractured and it's gone inside.
Correct.
So it's called a depressed fracture or a compound depressed fracture.
Correct.
So all the dirt from the surrounding has gone
Correct.
inside.
Paint, mud, gid,
Paint,
everything.
mud, sand, everything is gone inside. So we need to clean it. So that's called debridement and elevation of a depressed fracture.
In my words, I call it brainwashing.
Brainwashing, correct. So,
Gosh.
so you remove all the bone which is gone inside, cover up the dura, clean up everything, and then close it. So that is first part, cleaning of depressed fracture. Second one is extradural hematoma. So what happens is again, below the dura here, the blood
So
is
how do you
collected
open
here.
the skull?
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me that question.
Yeah. So what we'll do is it's like a round thing. We'll just put multiple holes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll make whichever part on the scan we find the blood clot is there. You just make holes around that blood clot. Now, where to make holes? You have to do neurosurgery. You can't tell you that.
Correct.
Trade secrets.
Trade secret.
So I won't tell you.
Correct.
So we make holes there. We cut it across.
You use a drill.
We use the drill.
Yeah.
Like how the carpenter cuts across like that. So we cut across like
High
that.
speed drill.
So we remove it.
1 lakh RPM, guys. It
So,
runs at 1
and
lakh
then
RPM.
we remove all the blood clots and then we put it back. So that is removing the extradural hematoma. So extradural hematoma, generally we put the bone flap back.
Correct.
It's okay.
Correct.
So the most difficult thing is the next part of the surgery is the subdural hematomas. They are very notorious. They have very high mortality rate.
Correct.
And subdural hematomas, even though the volume is very less, it's very, very bad and outcomes are
The
not
deeper
good.
the clot is, the more severe the
severe it
injury
is.
all along. That's the impact.
And second thing is the subdural hematoma is invariably associated with brain injury, underlying brain injury. It is like an extradural hematoma. Most of the times there is no underlying brain
Correct.
injury. Sometimes there could be some small component of diffuse axonal injury when the patient doesn't wake up even after EDH evacuation. That is a very rare scenario.
Correct.
Otherwise, generally,
Or if he has herniated.
yes.
Yeah.
Or generally after EDH done on time, generally they do well. But for subdural, it's not like that. Most of the times, until proven otherwise, they have underlying brain injury and they are generally in a poor condition. So what happens is, because not only we have to remove the blood clot, we have to take care of the brain swelling which is going to come back later. So even after removing the blood clot, you can't put back the bone flap. So it's
Got
like
it.
you fall down in the night today and tomorrow morning when you get up, you will feel a bump here.
Correct.
So the bump comes because the skin is expandable. So blood can get collected, it can expand, it can accommodate that space. So it's not the case with the head injury. So what happens is you fall down, there is a bleeding, the bump will definitely come. But problem is there is no space for it to expand.
As the brain expands, the skull doesn't expand.
Skull doesn't expand.
Like
The
a
skull is
pressure
a
cooker
rigid
effect.
structure.
Yeah.
So what happens is you have to create the space for it. So again, your savior is the skin. So what you do, you open it, you cut half of the skull, you take it out, and then you close the skin. So your skin is your friend. So it will expand. It will allow
Where do
the
you
bump.
keep the bone?
We can keep the bone in the anterior abdominal wall,
Like a
just
pouch.
below the skin, make
Correct.
a pouch and keep it there. And some people keep it in
The
their
fridge.
refrigerator or
Correct.
something. That's also fine. But again, because you have a skin is elastic, again I'm telling you, your over-engineered body is very good. Otherwise, you cannot
I
survive.
agree. I always tell the human body is designed for surgeons.
Surgeon.
I always say this. It's
It's
amazing.
designed
what
for
all-
surgeons and it's fascinating. It can do so many things.
I agree. I love it.
So the skin expands. So your brain also expands. So it doesn't put pressure on your normal brain. So it comes out. Then after that, once everything settles down, you
After
can
many
put it back.
weeks.
After
After
many
many
weeks,
weeks, it goes
months,
once. Yeah.
you put it back. That is this thing. If there is brain damage, then we have to suppose if this is the brain. So this is the brain, this is the frontal lobe, the temporal lobe is below here. So we have to make small openings in the brain. We call it as a corticectomy.
Correct.
Then we go down to remove all the blood clots. So there it becomes a little bit tricky. So
And sometimes the brain is swelling, coming
Yeah.
up like this. And once you
that is
remove
one
that,
part.
it goes down nicely and starts
second part
pulsating. That's
which
the end
I
of
want
surgery.
to add is your brain is not so simple as we all know. It has a right and a left.
Correct.
It has a dominant and a non-dominant.
Correct.
So all your outcomes are based on which side of your brain is damaged. Suppose you go to the left side, more than majority of a population has the left dominant.
Correct. For speech.
Suppose if it is coming out somewhere here in your frontal area or in your temporal area. So they are all centers for your speech, memory, understanding and everything. So if these areas are damaged, it is like mathematics. So after when you recover, you're going to have difficulty in speech, memory and understanding. That will all have a taking on your rehabilitation also.
Correct.
So in those areas, you cannot be very aggressive in removing blood clots.
Well
we
said,
have to,
well said. I
we have
agree.
to wait. We have to take the natural course. So most of the time, if it is a left side, we just remove the bone,
Correct.
do minimal damage, whatever we can, minimal injury, whatever to do that, and then come out.
Very important, because that brain will heal over time. The
Yes.
clot will disappear, and luckily, the brain can still
You
survive.
just
and-
give it a chance so that you
Correct,
can get maximum
correct.
functional
I
outcome.
agree. I agree.
And the fourth surgery which I want to tell is this part. This is called as the frontal sinus or the anterior skull base. So this is the nose. It is connected to the brain here. See if we can open. This is the brain,
Correct.
and it is connected to your nose.
One thin sheet of
When thin
bone,
sheet
very
of bone,
thin.
very thin.
Not
So
in, I think
if
half,
if
quarter
somebody,
mm maybe.
so again, if you don't wear your full face helmet, this gets crushed when you fall head on.
So as thin as
So
paper.
whatever you are breathing through, all the dust, everything goes into the brain. So and causes meningitis.
Correct.
So what we
Meningitis
have,
is brain fever.
so we have to open here, raise a flap, repair all whatever is fractured, put an extra layer. We'll take, generally we harvest some fascia from your leg,
Correct, if necessary.
and then we put it there, and then we try to cover it up, and then try to do a job. So even if maximum efforts, there is at least 10% chance even after all this you can develop infections.
I agree. Oh, and that infection can be life-threatening.
Life-threatening.
Life-threatening. Well said. So, in fact, before I ask the next question, I'm going to give one more story, which I'm doing this surgery tomorrow on a 9-year-old boy. I'm reconstructing this. Why I want to tell the story, though we don't want to talk of pediatric head injury, is this boy was going to school on a scooter. Father is riding in the front wearing a helmet. Boy, no helmet.
No,
Speed.
beda.
Chick boy.
Beda. Chickle ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ
No
ಯಾಕೆ helmet? ಬೇಡ.
Very close to school, one tree branch fell.
Hmm.
Our upon tell me I could have fallen, and father said
Ah.
he chose to fall on the child's
Child's head.
Entire brain smashed, skull smashed, came in unconscious. I had to do this decompression. Now the child, luckily from deeply unconscious, has now started walking around, recovered very well. So I have to reconstruct all of this. Why I am telling you this story is, our corporation, BBMP, they are paying the whole bill.
You must be their friend or something.
So I want through this podcast to give a message, guys. If there's a pothole on the road, if it is a BBMP problem, BESCOM problem, BWSSB problem, please put case against them. Please get the money from them. I am telling you that is the only way they will know. Let them arrest me. I don't mind. I am going to go and stand in front of the judge and tell it is not public's problem. It is their problem. They will dig gundi tortare. They will not do street light is not available. We are paying taxes. They have to do it. There are rules in BBMP. I have the document with them. There's a rule that says that you can take compensation for so much, so much, so much. Entire bill. I was stunned. The BBMP medical, there must be some influence. I didn't go into the details. I will eventually take it once the child comes completely all right. But they are funding the whole bill. And I think, anyway, BBMP is our money only, public money. But I think they should take money from that engineer also. And until they take personal money and make them personally liable, this is not going to change. And I think through this, we will give this message. You can make me the bad guy. I don't care. I really don't care. Because we are here to help the public. And if the public can do all these things, we are happy. And that's what
I'll
it
just
is.
add to whatever you're saying, sir. This, whatever you told, BBMP and potholes, same thing. Ground level fall or trivial falls. So elderly people generally get affected. So it can be so bad as having nothing to fatal. We have had examples. So patient
This is about geriatric falls. Old
geriatric ground level falls.
From their own height.
From their own height, ground level falls or a trip and fall.
Correct.
So walking on the road, again, footpath up and down, not even, no proper lighting in there. Patient just slipped and fell down. So he had other medical problems. So he was on blood thinners. He was having 2 blood thinners because of his stent and everything.
In the heart and all of blood thinners.
So he just
aspirin,
slipped and fell down. Then he got up. He took an auto. He came to the hospital.
Oh, at least he came to hospital.
He came to the hospital.
He
came to the hospital. So this is first scenario. Came to the hospital. We did a scan. There was nothing. We told him, see, you're on blood thinners. You need observation. He was a very good gentleman. He agreed for observation. Then after that, we discharged him. We told him, see, this can land up in problems 1 month later.
Correct.
So you...
Chronic subdural.
So that patient promptly came after 4 weeks with one side weakness of the body. And he was very drowsy. We did a scan. Whatever was there on the not picked up on the initial observation scan and the follow-up scan. He had developed a chronic subdural hematoma. This is a very common problem. with this.
Slowly the clot becomes bigger, guys, especially elderly people. Don't miss this.
So that we treated him and he's fine. Exactly opposite scenario.
Mm.
Same elderly gentleman, obviously not the same person, another person. He had a ground level fall, just gone to buy some milk or something. He just tripped and fell down. And he didn't wake up.
Oh.
He didn't wake up. So the auto fellow nearby one, he just dropped him in our hospital. He had such a big, he was not on blood thinners also, sir. Very surprising. Because of his lot of brain atrophy, he just bled so badly. By the time he came to us, he was deeply comatose. Even after emergency surgery at 2 o'clock in the night, we are not able to save him. So I tell most of my geriatric population who come to me to have a walking stick. They are one more generation, very difficult to manage.
Very difficult.
They tell, no, I can walk. I am Superman. I can do everything.
I agree.
So these are two extremes. Just ground level fall. No helmets, no RTA, no accidents, nothing. Just
and many of the falls are at home. This is both you gave example falling outside, but they can
slip and fall at home or slip and fall on the road. It can be two extremes. Either you can have a delayed complication like a chronic subdural hematoma, or you can have such a bad hematoma that you won't survive.
Very bad. True. So
be careful.
Those who have elderly people at home, be very, very careful, especially those who are on blood thinners, double blood thinners. He's like the devil in the deep sea. We always say the nectar for one is the poison for the other. Yes, so we don't know how to. So there's a constant struggle happening between the cardiologist and the neurosurgeon, which is the right dose to give and things like that. So it's very important. One more thing I want to tell about this accident, the medical legal aspect is we have a very strange law. If the person skids and falls and doesn't hit an opposite vehicle, the vehicle insurance doesn't give. I don't understand that stupid logic. What is that logic here? Only if one vehicle hits another vehicle, there is accident at that.
Touching should be there, sir. If there is no touching, nothing.
No touching, nothing. No accident,
No accident. It's not accident.
Amazing. Sir, self-fall, sir. No self-fall. So what is happening now? Match fixing is happening. They find opposite vehicle. I'm telling you all this openly, guys. It's all happening. Police is involved. Everybody is involved. Lawyers are involved. They'll find somebody else's vehicle which has insurance. They, who has good. Again, he has to have driving license, that owner. They fix it. Then they go to court. They fix it in the, what is that? Panchanama.
There is separate lobby for it.
Yeah. So that's what goes on like this. So end of the day, if you don't help us, they have to help themselves by doing all sorts of things. I'm not promoting any of these things. All you have to understand is, if public are not served, they have to find their way. And if your rules are not helping the public, then I don't understand why the rules are there. And the insurance companies are not helping you buy the insurance, it doesn't help you, then that's why that insurance fellow got killed in US. There's agitation that's going to become public will rise at the end of the day because you're paying the money. It's not free at the end of the day. So we'll come back to a more serious topic now. You said about, the brain swelling. I'm going to remove the bone. We keep it in the abdominal wall in the fridge. So that is something we call as raised pressure inside the brain, like a pressure cooker. You made that statement. And we call it in, neurosurgery, it's called ICP or intracranial pressure. So can you educate our audience a little bit about what is this ICP and why is it so important, the pupil asymmetry that you said. Can you tell us a little bit on
basically, that? We'll keep it very simple.
Keep it very
calm.
Just so they understand the importance of this.
You think of your skull as a fixed box.
Correct.
Okay. The box has a fixed volume.
Correct. Non-expandable.
It is a fixed volume.
Correct.
So there are 4 things which are there inside the box. One is your brain proper, your CSF, your arterial blood, and your venous blood. These are the 4 things which are there. Each one has
occupies.
It has a fixed proportion. You cannot alter with it. So if you want to alter, if one increases, the other one has to give up. Compensate. Like marriage. They are all married. All 4 of them are living in the same house. We have to compensate, adjust and go around. If one person is becoming bigger, the other person has to compromise. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ adjust ಮಾಡಿ. ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ adjust ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ guarantee divorce. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಹಂಗೇನೆ. So if the brain is expanding, so either the CSF should go out, what you call as ventricles have to compress.
The brain fluid.
Or your venous return has to reduce.
The blood has
to go. Something has to go.
Correct.
So this thing is called as a Monroe-Kelly doctrine. So this entire space is fixed. If one component increases, the other component has to reduce.
Some compensation.
So that is what we tell secondary brain injury.
Correct.
Suppose if the brain volume is increasing after secondary brain injury, the arterial blood flowing or the venous blood coming out reduces. So indirectly, it causes secondary brain injury because oxygen is not going. The brain is expanding.
Correct.
So that causes further and further brain damage.
Correct.
So this is the concept of ICP. So the ICP, all the time, what we all surgeons, we try to keep that family together.
Correct.
So if any problem in the family, they have to come to us. We have to sort out their family dispute.
Correct.
So that
Correct.
they live
As soon as
happily
possible.
and they live happily
Happily
ever
ever.
after.
Correct.
We have to make that situation.
Correct.
So we are all striving to make them live happily ever
Correct,
after.
correct.
The all four people
Correct.
together. So this
Very,
is basically
very nicely
about.
put. Excellent. Very nicely said. Very nice.
So how you pick up this family conflict is your pupil.
Correct.
So you go and see in the family's eyes.
Pupil is that small fellow in the
Small
middle.
fellow inside. You go and peep through their window. You peep through the family's window to see whether they are fighting or not. If they are fighting means one will be small, other will be angry and furious, that will be bigger. So you go peep in the family's window and then you make out if one is small and one is big or not.
Then you run. If
Then you
it is,
run.
your run means you literally run because otherwise there is no time. Otherwise the brain is
So
cooked.
to keep one family happy, you have to peep through the window.
Urgent emergency.
Urgent emergency.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಡಿವೋರ್ಸ್
Emergency divorce ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Divorce ಅಲ್ಲ sir. Separation. Permanent.
Correct.
Over.
Permanent. I
So
agree
kept
with
it very simple.
No,
So
very well said. I think you have said it very, very nicely, very well said. Yesterday, I'll give you a story. This happened yesterday. The colleague neurosurgeon who works with me, he had to rush to Mangalore because his mother had a fall. And what has happened is, mother, obviously, elderly, father, mother have gone to somebody, relative's house for some puja. And they had, lunch on the first floor. The first floor in the balcony, they have tied a sari
sorry.
at the edge of the balcony. She thought the sari is draped on a fence or a wall.
Wall.
Something happened. Hand wash was close by or something. She's gone there. Something has happened. She's tried to hold the sari. There's no wall there. And she's fallen 13 feet. Can you imagine? What people, I mean.
Making things look beautiful so that people are
Illa.
at risk.
What are they trying to do? I mean, can you imagine these people? So, fall from heights is the next topic. I'm trying to use this to introduce the next topic. So, you love that topic, so I want to talk to you.
Problem is I feel helpless in that.
Why do you feel helpless?
See, majority of the fall from heights in our practice, which you would have seen,
Correct.
they are all migrant labor workers.
Correct. Laborers. Correct.
Migrant
Construction
laborers,
workers
construction
mainly,
workers.
yeah.
Bangalore has so many constructions,
Correct.
metro and all those
Correct.
things.
Correct.
Invariably in our practice, once or twice a month, we'll end up with these patients.
Correct.
Or they are daily wage laborers who are just hired. They come, they do their daily wage.
Correct.
And our labor laws are so bad, none
Correct.
of them are covered.
Again, law.
None of them are covered. They have nothing.
And the contractors don't
And
care. They don't insure
the work
them.
which they do is, again, that risk-benefit ratio is very high.
Correct.
And they put so much risk in their jobs
Correct.
and there is minimum safety for them.
Safety. Correct. Though rules are there.
Rules are there. Nothing is followed. They are supposed
Because
to have...
somehow in this country, the safety, nobody cares at that.
They are supposed to have ESI coverage and all those things,
Hmm.
but nothing is there.
And insurance, you're supposed to have medical insurance, trauma, all those
So
things.
most of these migrant laborers, they work at heights without any safety measures.
Correct.
So they just fall down.
Correct.
And most of them will have...
Now they also don't have no orientation to safety.
Their population is extreme. Either they are fully awake and hands and legs are not working. They land up with spinal
Spinal
injury.
cord injury.
Or they land up with the other thing,
Diffuse
axonal injury, where everybody is blind.
Correct.
So both are extremes. And they work in a very delicate balance. They don't have so much finances. They'll have a big family to take care of. They'll most of the time be single breadwinners. So this situation is very, very helpless. And literally they're left to dogs.
Left to dogs, Allah.
Left to dogs.
And I think that I've
And,
seen a lot of the contractors just
that
washing their
contractor
hands.
just come there. He'll just be there for the first day. After
I
that,
wash.
he'll just
I
he'll just abscond. He's not to be seen only.
And no accountability.
No accountability.
No accountability.
And
No, zero accountability.
what to do
We have
with that?
seen that.
Everybody is stuck.
Yeah, everybody is stuck. Everybody is stuck. Sayalla badakala. They don't die, they don't survive.
Both extremes. Diffuse axonal injury, they're just lying down on the bed. The other one, they're not going to get back to their work and their life is completely... And one more major problem is, sir, they're all not from Bangalore and they all come from other places.
East. Most of them is
east.
East.
From other states they come. And in this situation, it's impossible, literally impossible for them to even send them back so that they can get a government service
Correct,
there or
correct,
something, it's
correct.
impossible to shift them out also.
Yeah, because, well said. Because that all these state governments that run that so-called Ayushman Bharat schemes is only limited to
Limited to that
that
state.
You can't claim it in the
Yeah.
next state.
So we can't shift them out.
Correct.
They are stuck here. We are stuck with what to do with these patients. So it's a big menace.
It's a big mess, big mess, big mess, big mess. Very true. What you said is very true.
That's why I feel very sad.
I know.
This part, you can't do anything for them.
I still remember, when I was training in Manipal Hospital, opposite our hospital was Leela Palace was being built. That long crane is there, no? That whole thing
big
that is
one.
there. So this is being built by L&T. So L&T has good safety things in place, nets everywhere and everything else. So one fellow fell from that crane on top.
Okay.
Why he didn't bear that thing, I don't know. But anyway, he fell. So that's some eight floors higher water. And strangely, whoever has tied the net, between two nets, there was 1 foot gap. So one location. He fell in that gap.
Most unluckiest person.
And he fell in that gap. And that fellow was brought because we were opposite hospital. They took care of him, everything. Then one young engineer used to be sitting outside. Sir, ಅವನು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಕೆರಿಯರ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಸರ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ನು ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ he said, if that fellow dies, my life, my career is gone. Because he was a site engineer. It was his responsibility to make sure all this was taken care of. Amazing, Karthikeyan. He walked out of hospital after 1.5 months. That's what is Kismat. So in spite of the bad thing, he had the good thing that was going on. So I think it worked well at the end of the day. So I think, so we spoke about the GCS, we spoke about the ICP, we spoke about the pupils. There's so much, guys, going on. So what we are trying to tell you is, it's not a 1+1 2 situation. It's not a simple thing. Please understand, you have to be under observation for 24 hours. You have to take your protection. High-speed accidents, though, you will get nothing at the end of the day, to even do anything. So be very, very careful. Don't speed. Speed thrills and kills and all of those things we see on the road, but they think they're good slogans. But it's not for me.
It's not for it.
Alva, it's not for me. I am very safe. I'm a very careful driver, so on and so forth. So any other last messages that you have to give to our audience?
Sir, I always tell two things. One, be responsible and be mindful in whatever you do.
Not just driving.
Not just driving. In daily routine, just be responsible and be mindful. And be thankful that you are awake, alert, and you're walking around. That itself is a big blessing.
That's all we have to say at the end of it. But we didn't speak about one very important thing. Night driving.
Yes. One fine day, you try to be heroic. Never in your life you have driven at night. You start doing all this.
People love this night
driving. People love this.
Early morning night driving.
So there also people try to be stingy.
And over smart.
ಸೊ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, ಹೆಂಗಿದು ರಜಾ ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಡ್ರೈವ್ನ. ಸೊ ನಾಳೆ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ಫುಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. And they land up with us only, invariably.
So you have some stories to tell our audience,
family,
I think.
Very sad story, sir. It's very sad.
Very
heartbreaking
story. The way
story.
it is. Yes, please tell us.
Nice family, husband, wife, 2 children. They stay somewhere in Tamil Nadu. I don't want to put the location or the name. They stay there and they want to travel to Wayanad.
For a holiday.
For 3 days, long weekend break. So the husband comes, both of them were working. Both of them finish their work. They come back. They have dinner. Then they have this crazy idea that we'll drive overnight so that we'll save time. I don't know how it makes sense. So they put the 2 kids, they start driving 2 a.m. in the morning.
2 a.m.?
2 a.m. in the morning. So the traffic is less and they can cover a lot of distance. So they reach Bangalore. From Bangalore onwards.
Oh, they have to go via Bangalore.
They have to go via Bangalore. So they reach Bangalore and then to reach Wayanad, they were going towards Mysore. Both of them dozed off.
Oh, husband, wife.
First, both of them dozed off and they have hit a standing vehicle. Standing truck they have hit. Half the family is washed off. Very sad. Children could not be saved there only.
Oh, children died, huh?
Children died. Both died.
My goodness.
Both children passed away there only. Wife is having diffuse axonal injury with severe neurological deficits. Husband is having disabling limb injuries. All this to save 6 hours. That's what I tell. Is it being responsible? Is it being mindful? No.
What a waste.
And what
intelligent people.
Intelligent people.
Educated,
And
intelligent.
what did you try to achieve by saving that 6 hours? Have a 6 hour less holiday. No? It's okay.
I don't understand this at all.
Okay, if you're a professional driver, you're used to driving at night, fine. No. One fine day, I know how to drive, I can drive.
And not even rested the whole day.
Whole day you work
Huh.
and then pick up a car
Correct.
and then drive.
Amazing, no? And it's crazy. I lost one of my cousins like this. Same story. Husband, wife, no children. They IT professionals, whole day from Hyderabad they have worked. Mother has come to Bangalore. Husband's mother has come to Bangalore to visit another brother. So they decided to visit her. So after full day work, 9 p.m. they have dinner and start from Hyderabad. Same. Saving time.
Same.
3 o'clock in the morning, he has dozed up and hit a truck from behind. Now you know our trucks. No tail lights,
Nothing.
no reflectors. They park in the middle of the road. Who is driving? Who has given them license? God only knows in this country. He has hit the truck from behind. He suddenly realized he veered like this. So he escaped. She died on the spot. So when I went to the funeral, everybody is upset, which they're going to be. But they're blaming the truck driver who said this. I said, listen, you can't change any of these things. I only said one thing. Why were they on the road at 3 o'clock in the morning? That's all. This is the bottom line. Because you can't change the world. You can only take your own precautions. You take your safety and then you leave the rest to whatever is going to happen. So if this is our another
So
message.
that's what, sir, what I tell is you always question, is it really worth it?
Correct.
What the risk I'm taking, is it
Yes.
really worth?
Yeah.
And even if you feel that it is worth, then nobody is there to help you.
Alva. Then God, destiny,
That's
Anayamara,
all. Because
whatever.
any normal person with decent enough IQ, they'll tell, no, it's not worth, we should not do it. And in spite of that, if you feel all these things, then
11:30 is the maximum I am on the road. Wherever I am, I take a hotel and stay there. I said, let's get up. 5 o'clock in the morning, you get up and go.
That's why I say it's okay to be late. It's okay to be late.
Yeah, save a few
You don't have
hours.
to keep running behind
Yeah.
everything.
Time is precious. Life is more precious. On the road, we see all of these things. One life, one brain. And on top of that, they don't wear helmet. They don't wear seatbelt. All the masalas for
There is only one life, one brain. It's okay
correct
to be 5 minutes late.
Correct.
1 day late. It's
Correct.
okay.
And the speed thrills but kills. So please, guys, don't drive beyond a certain speed. There's no point. The vehicle may do what it is. But
Vehicle beeps, sir. Now the current BS6 beeps.
It beeps.
So you raise the music volume and go.
Correct. So
How much more engineering support you want?
Alva. So that's what I see. Eventually, even if the safeties come in and you find ways to bypass those safety things, then blame the government, blame this, blame that, blame the hospital, and you have to diagnose everything without doing tests. You do all the surgery with minimal thing. How is it? And some magic has to happen. In 2 days, he has to get up and go. Nobody has time.
And they won't have insurance.
They won't have insurance. Nothing. All the best masalas you guys have. But they have, the best mobile phone. They have jari saris in their house. They got the gold in their house. And the upstairs is no common sense. That
Very
is
sad.
Very, very sad. Very sad. Anyway, I think we had a great chat, on exactly what the head injuries. I think we have given all message. You think that we have missed anything to give a message? You have anything more
We
to
have
say?
given, sir. We have given it n number of times, again and again.
Correct.
Hope this makes
One more
effort from our side.
What Dr. Karthikeyan said is very important. This is not the first time. Our teachers have done it. Their teachers have done it. We have tried our best. Imagine being our business. We have gone and told wear helmet, wear seatbelt. We are harming our business. It's like KFC and McDonald's saying, cut cholesterol or don't eat this. I mean, think about it, guys. Which other industry is saying you not to do something so that their business goes down? It doesn't matter to us, guys. Please understand, because we care for you. We care for your families. We care for your health. We care for your brain. And like Dr. Karthikeyan said, it's one life, one brain. Please be responsible. Wear your seat belts with the buckle in the back seat. As soon as you sit inside, wear your helmet, a full-faced helmet, wear the buckle. We can't keep saying more of this, but if you do not do any of these things, or in spite of not doing or doing, you have the unfortunate accident, please remember to go to a trauma-ready hospital.
If they don't do, we'll do well, sir. That's it.
That's all we can
That's
say.
all we can say.
So I think, again, before I end, please remember, guys, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. Please share these and the other videos that are there on the channel, because you don't know who needs our help on all the various topics we are talking about. Please hit the like button. Please hit the bell icon. And I want you to generously share. Share about your experience. Share about your thoughts. Share about anything that you want us to say, because we are here to create awareness and serve you, so that in whatever Modi ji is talking about, the Viksit Bharat, developed India, we need our young people not to be in the hospital, not to be at home, but to be productive citizens of this country. Jai Hind. So, Dr. Karthikeyan, the last part of this podcast is always we have a action of gifting our speakers with the book that we have written called Rebooting the Brain. Please
Thank you.
accept a small token of appreciation. Please go through it and give us a
Definitely, sir,
feedback
definitely.
and spread the word. Thank you very
Thank
much again.